it's Kristen and I have a foundation review for you guys today. And this time I have the privilege of being able to do this foundation review with my friend Kirsten from It's Kirsten, which I will link below for you. If you guys have not heard me talk about her before, she is a younger and more oily skin type, and I am a more mature, more dry skin type. So whenever we can, we try to do foundation reviews together so that her subscribers that don't have her skin type could maybe check out mine, and my subscribers that don't have my skin type can check out hers. So she and I have been friends for a very long time. I'd have to ask her. I think it's probably been about 4 years, and we do have several foundation reviews together. So if you have never seen one of her foundation reviews and you have different skin type from mine, I will go ahead and link her below for you, and please check her out. She is delightful. All right, so I have my little list of my point scale here. If you are new to one of my foundation reviews, first of all, welcome. And second of all, I have 5 points, so 1 point for each category. I will go through them all, and at the end we get a final score. First of all, let's talk about coverage. And I think what I always feel like is best is that I cut to the demo, let you see me applying it, and then we will come back and talk about it. All right, we're gonna get tricky this time. I'm so tricky. So I just have a little bit on my hand here, and what I'm going to do, move my mirror a little bit, is one side of my face, because people often ask, you know, beauty blender versus like a flat top kabuki, what the coverage is like. So I'm going to do one side one way and the other side the other way, so you guys can hopefully see fairly well. This is the Beauty Junkie. There's two black sponges that they have. This is the one that's called the Pro Contour Sponge. It's got the flat edge, which I love. All right, so one side, I wonder if there we go. One side with one coat. I don't like using the word coat, but I don't know what else you would really call it. And then the other side, I'm using flat top kabuki brush, whichever one. This is the angled one, actually the Beauty Junkie flat top kabuki. I'm just going to go over my whole nose. It's hard to do like half of your nose. So you can see that you get a little bit better coverage with flat top kabuki, which is generally the case. But I just wanted to give you guys both options, I guess. Since I've had questions, like I said, so many times in the past. So coat number 2 with the Beauty Sponge. So there you go. And then just take the rest of what's on my hand here. Usually when I do a 2 coat, I do, you know, 2 kind of thin coats. I usually don't put so much up here and more on my cheeks where I have that redness I like to cover. And this is the side of the face that has, the side of my face that has more redness. This particular cheek, for some reason, I don't know if it's because it's the driver's side or what, but maybe it gets a little more sun, but it always has more redness there. And it's not the side I sleep on, in case you're curious. I just had to think about that for a minute. All right, so there, Beauty Sponge, flat top kabuki. And I don't notice a ton of difference with this particular foundation. I think the coverage is very, you know, fairly similar. Actually, I think it's really similar. I think the finish is a little more glowy with the Beauty Sponge. So I hope that for those of you that were curious, I know, like I said, I've had comments on a few other videos about seeing it with a flat top kabuki versus, or with a brush of some sort, versus with a beauty blender. I hope that you found that helpful. I think in the end, I don't necessarily see a huge difference. There's a little bit more of a glow on the side with the beauty sponge than on the other side, but I don't think in this particular instance there's much of a difference. So as far as coverage and claims to this foundation, I normally don't do this, but I find it helpful when I hear other people review things. So I want to just read you what L'Oreal claims for this. They say, discover the new Pro Finish of Longwear. For up to 24-hour wear with a hydrating glow. Lightweight and creamy, the long-lasting foundation goes on smooth with a glow that lasts. With medium coverage, it instantly hides imperfections for a clear complexion. The hydrating formula with SPF is ideal for normal to dry skin. So let's address a couple of those things, you know, as we go through my categories here. Every category can get up to a point, and thus 5 points because there's 5 categories. All right, so for coverage, I'm going to give it a 0.75. And I feel like it is a good medium coverage. I don't feel like you can get past medium with it. You could still see definitely some of my redness, as I mentioned over here. You could see some of my imperfections here. But it definitely is a good coverage. I'm not sure it completely does exactly what they're saying in there, but it does have a good coverage. So I'm giving it a 0.75. So as far as finish, I did not put any powder on my face aside from just a little bit here. I have a little bit on my nose and then under my eyes. So anything that you're seeing is really the foundation. And then the blush I have on actually is Mood Exposure from Hourglass. I'm telling you that because you know you probably know those have a little bit of a glow to them. But I do find the foundation to be a little bit glowy. It is definitely not over the top. And I will say right off the bat before anybody asks, I never used the other version of this, just the Pro Matte, because I knew that would be way too drying for me. So I just want to tell you that right off the bat. As far as the finish, I will tell you this. I like the glow. I feel like it lasts all day long. And this is one of those foundations that when you put it on, it doesn't look delightful right away. It takes about a half hour, in my opinion, to really look good. So I'm giving it a 0.75 for finish just for that reason. I have a couple other ones that do the same thing. And I like how it ends up looking. It's sometimes just frustrating for me to get to that point. So let's talk about longevity. I do feel like this has good staying power. I don't know about 24 hours. I've never tried foundation for 24 hours. I think most of us that review things always end up saying that. But I do feel like it is a good 8 to 10 hours before I see, you know, sort of a little bit of breakdown. It does start to break down though. It kind of depends on the day, whether it's at the 8-hour mark or a little bit longer. It's okay for me. I really prefer something that's 12 hours, but you're hard pressed to really find that. I will say this, and I do not have this on today, but I just want to make mention of this. The Kat Von D, what is it called? The setting powder in translucent. I find that this, over this foundation, it doesn't take away the glow, and it really adds to the longevity. When I have worn this over that, when I go to take my makeup off, there's a lot on the makeup wipe. That's kind of how I judge, you know, aside from how my face looks. I also judge when I use a makeup wipe to remove my makeup before I cleanse my face. I really want to see how much is on that, how much of it's bronzer, how much of it's blush, how much of it's foundation. Yes, I do. I examine it sometimes if I am working on a review of a product. So I do want to say this is a very good combination. I realize this is a much higher price point than this, but I just wanted to mention that. All right, so for longevity, I'm giving it a 0.75 just because without any sort of powder over the top of it, I do feel like it starts to break down again, depending on the type of day it is, but the 8-hour mark and then forward. So if it's really humid, I see a little bit more around the 8-hour mark. If it's not, then it's closer to the 10-hour mark. So there is that. Packaging, I gave that a full point. I really like this because there's a couple of reasons. So we all love like a beautiful bottle like this, okay? And you know what? Actually, I have that here to talk about primer. So we'll talk about that in a second. But this is small, easy to travel with, and you can get everything out of here because you can cut this open and get out the rest of it. So I just wanted to, I gave it a full point, and that's one of the reasons that sometimes it gets a full point for me if it's a beautiful glass bottle with a pump, just because we all love a lovely package, right? But there's also something to be said for functionality and getting all of your product out of a tube. So I gave it a full point for that. The last thing is color range, and there are 12, I had to verify, make sure, 12 shades in this. And when I looked, I am in the shade 202. I'm sorry if I didn't mention that. I'm sure I'll have that listed below as well for you, which is Creamy Natural. I think there was maybe one shade lighter than this, and there are some darker shades, but not a ton of them. So I'm giving it a 0.75. I feel like I should really be giving it a half a point, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a 0.75, but I really feel like it's missing the, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to give it a half point. I've changed my mind. I even have it written down already. I'm changing my mind. They're just missing some on either end of it. So I apologize for my indecisiveness there, but I'm going to give it a 0.5. The cost of this foundation is between $11 and $13 from what I've looked. Walmart versus Walgreens versus Ulta. And gosh, it's getting up there a little bit. I still think it's a good price, but it's just kind of getting up there a little bit for a drugstore. But for the product, I think it's a great price for the product. So hopefully that kind of makes sense coming at it from two different, angles there. So overall, I gave it a 3.75. I think it's a good foundation. I still feel like the CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous kind of is a tick above it, but it is really good, and it does have that sort of glow. I just wanted to talk about primers a little bit. The primer that I have on my skin today is the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Primer, and that one works really, really well with this. Very well. I like how it works. I also tried the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, and that worked well with it as well. Now, something that I had this when I used it up, but I'm going to actually give this to a friend to try. This is the Arbonne Makeup Primer, and this is a silicone-based primer. So as you guys may or may not know, your primer can really make a huge difference in how a particular foundation applies, which is why I try it with bunches of different primers to test the longevity, test the wear, and that sort of thing. What I found interesting, and it may just be the primer, but I just wanted to mention it. Like I said, it didn't mix very well with this silicone-based primer as well. It worked well with the other two, and it worked well on its own. But I will say on its own and with the Arbonne, I would notice some dry spots here that I didn't necessarily have would sort of appear, and then some on my nose as well. So I just wanted to give that a quick little mention. All right, that is everything. I will tell you quickly what is on the rest of my face. As I said, for blush today, I have the Hourglass Mood Exposure. On my eyes, I pulled out an old palette. I'm trying to just kind of play in my old palettes a little bit. So I broke out the Kat Von D Innerstellar palette. And then on my lips today, I'm trying to grab it without knocking it over. I have one of the lip duos from Doll 10. I pulled it apart in case you're wondering what I did. The lipstick is in Doll Code, which looks like that. And then the lip gloss is in Miss Bliss. It looks like that. So please go ahead and check out Kirsten's video if you have oily younger skin, or if you have oily more mature skin. She still will have some great information. She always has a nice thorough review as well. So I think that's everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and in everything that you do, be beautiful. Bye.